I called my mama phone, called my brother, and nobody answered. And then I called my cousin, and she told me, something had happened to my mom and my brother. And that's when I found out that they were gone.
September 15th, 2025, 2 p.m., Wilson, North Carolina. A cell phone camera is recording. On the porch of 916 Washington Street, voices are raised. The man behind the camera is Donta Chestnut, known to everyone as Carolina Tay. Just 3 days ago, he was at a community center feeding families who couldn't afford groceries.
How that work?
Hey, what'd you say? What'd you say I am again?
Man, you are up.
Last week, he stood before a group of at-risk teens, telling them to put down their weapons and pick up their futures. He'd spent years preaching one message: gun violence destroys communities. But right now, on this porch, that message is about to shatter. In less than 15 minutes, 2 people will be dead. A mother, her son, just 21 years old, and the man who will pull the trigger, the same man who built a $500,000 organization to stop exactly this kind of tragedy. How does a community hero become a killer? This is the story of Donta Chestnut, the mentor, the advocate, the killer. Welcome to True Crime Anatomy. To our subscribers, thank you for being here. May your family stay safe wherever you are. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Like this video and share it, because what we do here is different. We go beyond the headlines. We find the details the media leaves out. We tell the full story. And this story, it's one you won't believe. Natasha Sutton, 44 years old, a mother of 3, and according to everyone who knew her, the person you called when everything was falling apart. Her daughter Tatiana Rogers spoke to her almost every single day. Every morning, the phone would ring. Mother and daughter checking in, staying connected. It was routine, it was comfortable, it was normal. September 15th, 2025. That call never came. Natasha had just moved into a new place, 9116 Washington Street in Wilson, North Carolina. It wasn't much, a fresh start. She'd moved in with her husband, Tyrone Sutton, and her son, Avante Pender. The family was finally under one roof again, close to the rest of their loved ones. Natasha was the glue. That's what her son, Tyrone Brown, said about her. When there was a problem, she solved it. When someone needed help, she showed up. The family leaned on her because she never bent. She's always been the backbone through everything, Tyrone said, and she was proud of where they were. New apartment, new chapter. Avante Pender, 21 years old, Natasha's son, a young man with everything still ahead of him. He was close with his siblings, Tatiana and Tyrone, the kind of bond where you didn't have to say much to understand each other. His mother and stepfather had just settled into the Washington Street apartment, and Avante was right there with them, helping out, being present. The family had hopes for him, big ones. But here's the part they didn't know yet. The lease they signed? The landlord's name on that document was Donta Chestnut. They'd never met him before, never heard his name, but the rest of Wilson had. And they loved him. 39 years old. People called him Carolina Tay. To most of Wilson, North Carolina, he wasn't just a name, he was a presence, a force for good. He graduated from Liberty University with a degree in business, smart, educated, driven. But what people knew him for wasn't business, it was heart. And that heart, it was born from tragedy. Donta had a brother, someone he was close to, someone he loved. And one day that brother was shot and killed. Gun violence, senseless, final. Most people, when they lose someone like that, they want revenge. They want to hurt whoever's responsible. They want blood for blood. Donta chose a different path. He decided that instead of retaliating, instead of adding more violence to the world, he would build something. He would create a place where kids could find guidance, where they could stay off the streets, where they could learn that there was another way.
It's called Our Wilson Mentoring. So with that, we started back in 2019, and it was due to a tragedy of my brother being, hurt to gun violence. And I wanted to make it to the point that we didn't have to go through that again. I know it's still gonna be gun violence and it's gonna be different drugs and stuff going on forever. But we want to make a program to slow that down.
Gotcha.
And change generations. And with that, we teaching the kids life skills and, you know, helping them with their education also.
He founded R. Wilson. The mission was simple: empower the youth, give them mentorship, show them they didn't have to pick up guns to survive. And everyone in Wilson knew the story. They knew why he started it. They knew about his brother. That's what made Donta different. He turned his grief into purpose. R. Wilson became his life's work. He organized community cleanups. He mowed lawns for elderly neighbors who couldn't do it themselves. He helped people struggling with addiction. Parents trusted him with their children. Takaya Farmer was one of those parents. All 4 of her kids went through his programs. He saved a lot of lives, she said.
He loves my children. Like, even when we couldn't afford to pay for the program, he'll go out his pocket and pay for it himself.
In 2023, he ran for Wilson City Council, District 2. He didn't win, got 41% of the vote, but it didn't matter. If anything, people respected him even more for trying. And then, in September 2023, something major happened. The North Carolina General Assembly awarded R. Wilson $500,000. $500,000 to expand the nonprofit, upgrade facilities, reach more kids. Donta Chestnut wasn't just a mentor anymore. He was a leader, a symbol. Proof that one person could turn tragedy into change. His brother's death wasn't in vain. Donta made sure of that. But there was another side to Donta Chestnut. He wasn't just running a nonprofit. He was also managing rental properties, a landlord, a businessman. That Liberty University business degree? He used it. He understood contracts. He understood leverage. He knew how to protect his investments. And when tenants didn't pay, he knew how to collect. Most people in Wilson didn't think about this part of his life. They saw the mentor, the hero, the man handing out free meals and keeping kids off the streets. They didn't see the man knocking on doors, demanding rent. By the summer of 2025, one of Donta's tenants had fallen behind on payments. The Sutton family, Natasha, Tyrone, and Avanti. They were living at 916 Washington Street. Donta's property, and the rent? It wasn't getting paid. So here's the question that sits at the center of this case. Donta started R. Wilson because his brother was killed by gun violence. He dedicated his life to stopping that cycle. But when money got tight, when a tenant wouldn't pay, what happened to that mission? When someone builds their entire identity around preventing violence, what does it mean when they become the one holding the gun? For Donta Chestnut, we're about to find out. The lease was simple. Natasha Sutton, her husband Tyrone, and her son Avante would rent the property at 916 Washington Street. The landlord, Donta Chestnut. East Wilson, a working-class neighborhood where people knew their neighbors, where kids played in the street, where rent was affordable, if you could keep up with it. At first, everything seemed fine. Professional. Standard landlord-tenant arrangement. Donta owned the property. The Suttons moved in, paperwork signed, keys handed over. But somewhere along the way, the payments stopped coming. It started small, maybe 1 month late, then another. Excuses made, promises to catch up. Donta reached out, texts, phone calls, reminders that rent was due. Weeks passed, then months. The tension built quietly. No one outside that situation knew what was happening. Because in public, Donta Chestnut was still Carolina Tay, still the mentor, still the hero, still showing up at R. Wilson, still preaching anti-violence, still helping families who couldn't help themselves. But behind closed doors, the landlord in him was getting impatient. But when it came to his rental properties, that was business, and business required payment. So the question becomes, how do you reconcile those two versions of yourself? And at some point, Donta started showing up at the property in person. The Suttons weren't just late anymore, they were months behind. Eviction wasn't a threat, it was becoming a reality. And still, the community had no idea. Because when Donta walked through Wilson, he smiled. He shook hands. He was the same man everyone believed in. September 2025, the warnings became final. Donta had reached his limit. The Suttons had to pay or they had to leave. He made a decision. He was going to confront them, face to face, no more texts, no more calls. He marked a date on his calendar, September 15th. At 916 Washington Street, Natasha was home with her husband Tyrone and her son Avante. Just another Sunday, quiet, normal. Tiffany Fogg, a relative, was visiting. The family was together. They had no idea what was about to happen. 12 p.m., noon. Somewhere in Wilson, Donta Chestnut made a decision. He was going to 916 Washington Street. He was going to settle this. He grabbed his phone, not just to make calls, he was going to record. Document the confrontation. Maybe he wanted proof. Maybe he wanted leverage. Maybe he just wanted them to know he was serious. And then there's the question nobody can answer for sure. Did he bring a gun planning to use it? Or was it something he always carried? 2 p.m., September 15, 2025. Donta Chestnut stepped onto the porch at 916 Washington Street. Natasha Sutton was there. Her son, Avante Pender, her husband, Tyrone Sutton, and Tiffany Fogg, a relative who was visiting. 4 people, 1 landlord, and Donta's phone was recording. The conversation started the way these things always do. Money, rent, what's owed when it's coming. But this wasn't a negotiation anymore. This was a confrontation. Voices started to rise.
Sheriffs or police or nothing.
They gotta go today. What?
Sir, you cannot.
They can record all they want.
So you need to go through on a lawyer.
They can record all they want. They getting out today.
Right, you hear that, Miss Buddy, right? So you need to get a report. Wait for the police to come. Okay. Okay, you can give me a call back. Thank you. You're welcome.
Nah, we gotta start packing stuff up today, man. We gotta go. I don't give a damn about your lawyer. You know what I mean? I don't give a damn about whoever you call, either aid or anything. Y'all gotta go today. The thing is, I gave you a place to stay, and you ain't have no place to stay. You know what I mean?
But I paid, no.
What's up with this?
No.
You alright, man?
What?
Alright. Get him? I'll just exactly. No, you stay right up. Y'all gotta go today. Y'all gotta go today. I don't give a damn about what your lawyer say. What? Huh? Huh? No, they gotta go today. Okay. They gotta go today. They gotta go today. Okay, man.
This is the complete breakdown of what happened in the video. Make them record all they want, Donta told the people inside the house. They're getting out today. Victim Natasha Sutton can be heard on the phone with someone she said was her legal representative. Person on the phone, you need to go ahead and report. Wait for the police to come. Okay. Person on the phone, you can give me a call back. Natasha stands near the front door while her son, Avante, holds the phone behind her. I know you just heard my lawyer, Natasha tells Donta, who's standing on the porch just a few feet away. I don't give a damn about your lawyer, Donta replies. I gave you a place to stay when you didn't have one. The two stand facing each other, speaking through the open front door. You ain't gotta do all that, Donta, Avante says from inside the house. Ain't nobody done nothing to you. Y'all gotta go today. Y'all gotta go today, Donta insists. A male resident responds, give me a week. Donta repeats, y'all gotta go today. Y'all gotta go today. Okay, the male resident says. It ain't nothing to go back and forth. We ain't had no place to stay. Another resident adds, you ain't fixed nothing. Natasha asks, where are the police? I ain't worried about the police, Donta replies. The police are coming, right? Natasha asks again. Donta repeats, y'all gotta go today. Excuse us, a male resident says as Natasha again asks if the police are coming. Donta, you call the police, another man says from inside. Natasha steps forward, placing one foot across the threshold of the front door. What makes you think you're not gonna leave my spot? Donta asks. What makes you think you was going to take my money and not fix nothing? Natasha fires back. When you took my money, I became your tenant. The only thing you can do is have these lights turned off, which will be okay. So you're gonna tell me what you're gonna do? Donta replies, I ain't telling you what I'm gonna do. I'm telling you what the lawyer said, Natasha responds. Another resident asks, she asked you to fix the stove. Why couldn't you fix the stove? Natasha continues, yeah, I'm telling you what I'm going to do, because if you had done that little bit I asked, we wouldn't be going through none of this. At that moment, the sound of a gun being cocked is heard. Moments later, gunshots erupt. The phone camera shakes and drops to the floor, capturing blurry footage. During the first 14 shots, the man in the gray suit, identified as Donta, is seen pointing a semi-automatic pistol as he steps into a side room inside the home. He then steps back out and fires 3 more shots, followed by 4 additional rounds into the side room. Victim Tyrone Sutton is seen falling to the floor after being pistol-whipped by Donta. The sounds of blows can be heard as Tyrone collapses. During the shooting, Donta moves between rooms, still holding the gun. His face is visible several times on camera. Donta can be heard shouting, "Where you at, N-word?" One of the victims, Tiffany Fogg, screams. Glass shatters and items crash to the floor for several seconds. 8 more shots are fired before Donta walks toward the front door, stepping over the dropped phone. In total, about 1 minute and 20 seconds pass from the moment Donta begins shooting until he exits the home. Several minutes later, a neighbor enters the house and can be heard asking, "What happened?" The mentor, the man who preached peace, who built an entire organization to keep guns out of young hands, reached for his own. The shooting lasted seconds, but in those seconds, 4 people were hit. Natasha Sutton, 44 years old, shot, dead on the porch. Avante Pender, 21 years old, shot, dead beside his mother. Tiffany Fogg, 37 years old, shot, wounded, bleeding but alive. Tyrone Sutton, 46 years old, shot, wounded, but still conscious. The porch was covered in blood, shell casings scattered across the wood. And Donta Chestnut was still standing there. Then something happened that would later become evidence. Donta's sister, Tiffany Monique Chestnut, was either already there or arrived within moments of the shooting. She looked at the scene, at her brother, at the bodies. And then she saw it. A piece of the gun. Broken. On the ground. The handgun had malfunctioned during the shooting. Part of it had snapped off, fallen to the porch. Tiffany picked it up, and she handed it to her brother. Donta took it, and he ran. 2 p.m., the 911 calls started flooding in. Shots fired on Washington Street. I heard gunshots. Someone's been shot. Send the police now. Within minutes, Wilson Police Department dispatched units to 916 Washington Street. 2:05 p.m. First responders arrived. What they found stopped them cold. 2 bodies on the porch, a mother and her son. Blood everywhere. 2 others wounded. 1 woman clutching her side, trying to stay conscious. A man sitting against the wall, hurt but stable. Shell casings all over the scene, and witnesses were already pointing, already talking. It was the youth mentor, Donta Chestnut. He did this.
And news tonight, a well-known youth mentor is accused of murder. Wilson police say Donta Chestnut shot 3 people this afternoon, killing 2 of them, injuring the other.
The officers recognized the name immediately. Wait, our Donta Chestnut? The guy from our Wilson? It didn't make sense. It couldn't be him. Not Carolina Tay, not the man who spent every day trying to save lives. But the witnesses weren't wrong. And the evidence was right there in front of them. Wilson County EMS loaded Tiffany Fogg into an ambulance, non-life-threatening injuries, but she needed a hospital. Tyrone Sutton was treated on the scene. He'd been shot, but he was going to survive. Natasha Sutton and Avante Pender couldn't be saved. Paramedics pronounced them dead at the scene. A mother and her son, gone. Wilson Police Department had a name. Donta Maurice Chestnut, age 39, founder of Our Wilson, community leader, youth mentor, and now murder suspect. An all-points bulletin went out, armed and dangerous, approach with caution. But for the people of Wilson, this didn't compute. Not Carolina Tay. There's no way. Parents whose children went through his programs refused to believe it. They'd trusted him with their kids. He'd paid for programs out of his own pocket. He'd fed families. He'd saved lives. Takaya Farmer, whose 4 children he mentored, spoke to reporters that evening. "This doesn't sound like his character at all," she said. "If anything, he acted in self-defense." But the evidence told a different story. The evidence was already stacking up. Multiple eyewitnesses placed Donta at the scene. They saw him, they heard the shots, some even saw him run. His cousin, Johnny Chestnut, had been on that very street just 15 minutes before the shooting. He'd seen Donta on the porch, talking to the residents. He didn't think anything of it at the time. Now he realized he'd been a witness. And then there was the most damning piece of evidence. Donta's own phone. He'd recorded the confrontation himself. The whole thing, the argument, the escalation. Everything that led up to the moment he pulled the trigger. He documented his own crime. Forensics recovered shell casings from the porch. Ballistics would match them to a handgun. But there was one piece of the gun missing. A broken part that had fallen during the shooting. Investigators knew it was there. Witnesses saw it. But when officers searched the scene, it was gone. Donna's sister had taken it. 6 p.m. Monday, September 15th. Donta Chestnut was found. No high-speed chase, no standoff. He surrendered. Officers placed him under arrest. He was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder. The man who'd spent years telling kids to put down their guns was now facing life in prison for picking one up. September 16th. Tuesday, Tiffany Monique Chestnut, age 36, was arrested. Donna's sister. The charges: felony accessory after the fact, altering and stealing criminal evidence. The warrant laid it out clearly. She'd picked up the broken piece of the handgun from the scene. She'd handed it to her brother as he fled.
Court appearance is set today for a second person charged in a double homicide in Wilson. Authorities believe Tiffany Chestnut handed the gun used in the shooting back to the suspect after the suspect dropped it on the ground.
She knew what he'd done, and she helped him try to cover it up. Her bond was set at $30,000. She posted it and was released. Donta, no bond. He stayed behind bars. September 16th, 2025, Wilson County Criminal District Court. Judge Tia Taylor presided. The courtroom was packed. Family members of Natasha Sutton and Avante Pender sat in the gallery, some of them weeping openly. Donta Chestnut was brought in, silent, stoic, no expression. The charges were read aloud. 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder. Judge Taylor asked if he wanted a court-appointed attorney. Donta declined. He'd hire his own. The prosecutor stood and made it clear. The state wanted him held without bond. Judge Taylor turned to Donta, asked if he had anything to say about bond. He looked at her. "I'm all right." That was it. He was remanded to custody. No bond, no release. September 30th, 2025. A probable cause hearing was scheduled. The case would move forward. As of now, the trial outcome is still pending, but the evidence, it's overwhelming. For those who knew Natasha and Avante, the answer is simple. Justice must be served. A man shot and killed 2 people over rent. He should face the consequences. But for the parents whose children went through Donta's programs, it's harder. Some still defend him. He acted in self-defense, they say. This isn't who he is. Others are grappling with the contradiction. How can someone do so much good and also do something so terrible? Wilson, North Carolina is being forced to ask a question most communities never want to face. Can someone be both a hero and a killer? The programs Donta built are either halted or uncertain. Kids who depended on his mentorship are left without guidance. And here's the cruel irony. An anti-gun violence nonprofit, founded by a man whose brother was killed by gun violence, and then that same man picked up a gun and killed 2 people. The cycle he claimed to break, he became part of it. There are bigger questions now. How many other tenants did Donta rent to? Were there other disputes like this one? Did anyone see warning signs? And maybe the hardest question of all, did being the beloved mentor make him feel untouchable? Did the admiration, the awards, the $500,000 in funding, did it all make him believe he was above consequences? This isn't an isolated case. Across the country, landlord-tenant disputes are turning violent. Evictions handled outside the legal system, power imbalances that escalate into tragedy. There's a process for evictions. It exists for a reason. When landlords take matters into their own hands, people die. So Donta started a nonprofit to keep guns out of kids' hands, to break the cycle. But on September 15th, he picked up a gun and he killed a mother and her son. The cycle he fought against? He repeated it. If the community had questioned him, instead of only celebrating him, maybe Natasha and Avante would still be alive. Their lives were more than this tragedy. They deserved better than a landlord with a gun. Their family said it best, "We'll never be the same." Thank you for watching. Now, what do you think? Can someone be both a community hero and a killer? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Share this video. We might help someone recognize warning signs, because sometimes the most dangerous person isn't the stranger in the dark. It's the one everyone trusts in the light. Natasha and Avante's story deserves to be told. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Tomorrow we're covering another devastating case that will make you question humanity. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss it.